Benji, Brady, welcome in. We are here for episode 36, and I don't know why I sounded like a game show host there. Like,
I mean, you
it was
get
a little,
Ryan Seacrest, Wheel of Fortune.
it was a little much, but yeah, we're here with a fun episode. We've spent the past couple episodes talking about branding. Of course, you guys know that's something
Adam's
big
favorite
for me.
subject.
My favorite subject. It was the first time I felt like I talked a ton on the podcast, but I enjoyed it. It was a fun podcast. Hopefully you guys listening got a lot out of it, and hopefully you're applying some of those things, to your brand or your business at the time. But today's a great subject. It's one that Benji kind of put together for us and brought it up. Actually, I think it came in during a podcast. We were talking, but we're talking about, like, does the clock end at a sale? Now, listeners, we understand everybody has different industries. We're doing different things. I mean, for us in Serpro, that could mean, hey, does that mean when the job's done, completed, they've signed the certificate of satisfaction, they're happy, is it over? It could be the same thing as buying a phone from Apple, buying something, a clothing store, like going to Dick's Sporting Goods. Does that mean just because the sale ends, your time with the customer ends? And I was like, I thought that's a great point, Benji. So let's just jump into it, man. Talk a little bit about where this thought process came from, what it is, and what we're really going to dive into today.
Yeah, I think, so like you said, somebody had actually texted this in that they just text in exactly what you said. Does a sale stop when the job is finished? And the answer to that is no. I think that everybody would agree that over the years, as you've gotten older, we used to get the paper mail back in the day, which I still think people get a lot of times with the coupons in them and what have you. Your wife or whatever might cut them out and keep them on the counter until they decide to go to the store or whatever and use this discount.
Gets my wife every time. You get those Kohl's cash ones in, and she's like, hey, we need to go buy Kohl's after church.
Yeah, and in today's world, obviously there's the email bucket, right? Your email probably gets, I'm going to use the word very loosely, flooded with different kinds of advertising and what have you. I think there's a better solution to it than all of that. I think that's still needed, but we'll get into it as we talk about it here. And as you guys know, many people think the clock does stop, especially in our industry, because someone has called us for a water damage cleanup or a fire damage cleanup, or we have their contents, or they're in the reconstruction phase of their home, which is their most valuable asset. They get back into their home, they're like, thank God I don't have to deal with that again. But if they've had the service done right and well with someone like us, they hope they never see us again. But if they have to use us again, they could, right? And so what we're just gonna talk about is how we can unpack as leaders and businesses to maintain meaningful contact, keyword there, with customers to provide value long after the sale and avoid the trap of either neglect or information overload. So just think about this. Do you have a story maybe of something that you've experienced? Maybe it was a shopping, maybe it was online, maybe it was whatever, that you felt forgotten after you made a purchase. Either one of you?
Oh, forgotten. I thought you were going the other direction for a minute. I was like, I got a great customer service. Let me think on that one.
On the good side. Is that what you're saying, Adam?
No, I have one on the good side.
Think about this. You've bought something and you look up a year later and you're like, man.
So it's more, I didn't buy a product, but I was buying a service. It was actually several years ago. I won't name the company or anything, but when I first started this entrepreneurial journey of, being able to send invoices and things like that, I had a buddy that recommended a company that he uses that allows him to send invoices. Okay. And so I went through, I set up, I did everything that I was supposed to do, that I was told to do. And I sent my very first invoice to a client. It was only like $300. I went and filmed. I think I took photograph for an opening house they had for this big apartment that they had renovated, and they had a bunch of people coming to tour it. And so I sent them an invoice to just because I came, took pictures, and edited them, and sent the invoice, and they paid it. And I can't remember off the top of my head what the issue was, but there was an issue where the money got hung up. So I called their customer service. I said, hey guys, I've got all my information in there. I don't know if it's something with my bank account information was incorrect, or maybe I was missing documentation because I just started doing this and it wasn't like a legal LLC yet. I mean, I was just doing work on the side. And basically they said, hey, sorry, you don't have your documentation. And they told me it'll take anywhere from 30 to 120 days to get my money back.
Wow.
120 days. And they said the only thing I could do is reach out to the client and have them cancel the order. So I'm like, so you're telling me I've got to call a client, tell them I have an issue with my invoicing that's embarrassing as it is, and have them spend time getting the money refunded and then pay me again.
Yeah. Yeah. That doesn't.
And they were like, yep. And that's all it was. Like, that's where it ended at. And after doing some research, I found out this is something they did a lot, that they didn't give a lot. And I should have done more research, but it was just tough because I called them and I said, hey guys, like this money is sitting here. Like, I've done the work. I'm done. I've delivered the product. Yep. I want you to help me. Like, don't make me call a client and say that you, as my provider of software, are making me call a client and say, hey, you need to call and spend time. And not only that, guys, they had to call the bank and call them. It was just this crazy list of things that they had to do to get. I got to the point where I was like, $300, I'm done.
Yeah, and in your mind, you're thinking, if I have to call the client or whatever, get them involved, they're going to be frustrated. And they're probably never going to use me again. You know, I get it.
So I didn't use them again. Moved on to a different service. Had no issues with them, but it was just tough. Like, I explained my situation, and you would hope, they would help, but man, I just got nothing.
Yeah, Brady, you have one?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I can think of is, I guess about 2 years ago, Benji and I lead worship at our churches, and so occasionally I like to, enhance my equipment and get a new guitar. And so I remember the 2 stores in town here in Birmingham, one called Bailey Brothers, and I went there and found a really nice Martin, and I bought it and had some issues with it, after the fact.
Yep.
And got a new pickup put in there, and the pickup sounded great, but there was just something about it that they were so eager to make the sale. We finished the sale. I paid for the product, but then after the fact, when I tried to get some of the service done, the service they didn't do as well on the service part as they had done on the sales part. And so flip that to most recently, I traded that one in, and I went back to, I'd gone to Arts Music many moons ago, and Bree Love Guitars. Shout out to Bree Love Guitars. But and so I kind of did an upgrade again. The service was night and day. The sales night and day. And I've even been in there and just got some things done to it, this and that, and it was just the service was incredible. And they had already took my money. I mean, they already made the sale, but the craftsmanship and the passion that they had, one was, let's just get your money and move on down the road. And the other one was, we really care about the musician and all the other things. So that's what I can think of. Yeah,
and I can guarantee you will remember that company next time you need something done, you're going back there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll never go back anywhere else.
Yeah, that's the thing is, a lot of people think that I've got the sale accomplished, I've done the deal, and man, I got my money, I'm done. But those that have taken their service to the next level obviously get the best bang for their buck, because they didn't just make a close, they made a long-term relationship transaction. So as you said earlier, Adam, the sale is a starting line, it's not the finish.
But what's also important to talk about is not just that, but just the service with it. So I had the same thing. So as a photographer, videographer, I use a company called Nomadic a lot.
Oh yeah.
They make and not just camera bags. They make a lot of like luggage and things. But anyway, I bought a lot of my gear outside of any of my hard cases that I have. But anything like a bag or something that I carry, I only purchase Nomadic. And I've had a great experience with them. They have typically 2 or 3 times a year. They call it they call it like a refurbished sale, like stuff that people have sent in. They have some damage to them, and they're typically heavily discounted. Which, I mean, their best camera bag is like $500. Well worth it.
Yeah.
Well worth it. I always tell people, why would you spend $100 on a bag from Amazon and stick your $6,000 camera in it?
Yeah, then you're gonna replace the bag 5 or 6 times. You might as well have bought one.
Yep.
But you're just talking about not selling with the end. I ordered one, got it from them. It was missing pieces that were never stated were missing. It said it in the picture, it showed it had everything. Reached out to him. I was very polite, said, "Hey guys, I bought this. I understand it's refurbished. The damage doesn't bother me. That's the reason why I paid less for it. I'm going to end up scuffing it up. It's fine. But I noticed none of the dividers are in it." Well, the dividers themselves are like $100 to get this kit for the divider. So at that point, I should have just bought a brand new one.
Yeah.
So I messaged them and told them about it. And they were like, "Hey, we're so sorry. Something happened. You should have had those in there." And they said, "We'll get it out." And guys, it's like overnighted and got it to me, got those pieces. Great service. Well, and then on top of that, I think Benji, after that happened, I was telling you about it.
Oh, I got one.
You were looking for a bag. And I was like, "Hey, but you got to try these guys. Like, you're going to love these bags. They're a little more expensive, but I think, again, it protects all your stuff." But where I'm saying is when that sale ends, because of that customer service, not only that, but I went out word of mouth again. I went out and told you, and I said, "Hey, you should get one of these. I know you need a new bag. Like, they're not going to steer you wrong, and they're going to fit. And it has a lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
If something happens, you can call them." So anyways, just know how you treat your customer when it doesn't, even after the sale, it can lead to other things. And other people say, "Hey, you need to try them and call them." I mean, we at ServPro the same way. We want people to tell them about our team and the things that we do.
Great service gets great word of mouth. And that's a great point, actually. No pun intended. But leadership credibility is what built on what happens after the money exchange hands. A great quote that came out, but trust compounds fastest after the ink is dry. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, do I physically have to sign for the ink to dry? Well, look, at the end of the day, you're making a transaction with funds, with some kind of, digital funds, your wallet app, or maybe it's cash or what have you. So that ink is dry at that time. So that's when the trust compounds fastest, after the ink is dry. I think there's a danger that we have to be careful of, because it's very easy in the service business, that the danger of radio silence, and customers who don't hear from you may assume you don't care. Now, some people would say, "Well, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to put so much stuff out there." I mean, Brady, we have been guilty of this same thing. Like, I don't want to, do they really want to see ServPro again? We understand you probably don't, but we've also heard the complete flip side of this, where customers say, "You know what? I don't want to see you again, but I am so happy that when I have a problem, you are there to show up, and then I get to see you in action." So just keep that in mind. Radio silence, and competitors will happily let them fill the silence, because it's their favorite sales tool.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, we don't have to go overboard with it.
Yeah.
Right? We don't have to. I mean, just a touch point. Hey, just checking on you, just stopping by, see if you need anything, that type of thing. And sometimes it can go into a larger conversation, and sometimes it's just, "Hey, I'm real busy right now. We got this meeting coming up. I got some other things, but hey, thanks for stopping by, Adam. Great to see you. I'll, just call me if you need something, that type of thing." But yeah, your 2 minutes does not go unnoticed, and it's a trigger, or it could be an email or a text or something, just a touch point that reminds them, "Hey, we're here. We've not gone anywhere. If you need something, then let us know."
Well, I think it can go really, it doesn't have to just be a sell. If you're in industry, or you're in something where you're just providing some type of service or something to someone. We talk about this at church all the time, and and this will sound bad, and I don't mean for it to, but I see a lot of churches always post, "Well, we had 15 people saved this weekend," all this. And I'm like, I think it's great. That's amazing. That's life change. One of the things I've always tried to have us think, especially for our team, think outside the box differently. Okay, great. They got saved. What's next? Like that, because honestly, that is, to me, and to get spiritual, that to me is more what salvation is. Like, okay, you made a change. Now you need to actively pursue it and live it.
Yep.
So that radio silence, like, think about that from that aspect. Whether you're a church or something else, you provided someone. If we're not feeding into them after, that's the whole point of serving, right? Like, yes, of course, having people help lead the church, run the church, do these things, because staff can only do so much.
Yeah.
That's a huge part. But what you're doing is you're not being silent after that decision's made, and you're getting them involved, and you're keeping that touch point. So for me and our listeners, think about, take this principle and think about, okay, is it a sale? Is it a service you're providing to someone? Is it a lifestyle you're providing to someone? Whatever that is. And how, when you get to your plan of, your course of action, your call of action, you've done that, you've made that, what is your next steps? What are you doing with them after that?
Yeah.
Right.
So moving out of the dangers, okay, the danger of radio silence, let's talk about a few healthy ways we could stay in front of customers. Okay, there's all kinds of different ways. These are just a few options for you out there. Number one on the list, educational touches. Maybe it's some resources instead of promotions. That's what I mentioned earlier in the show, that you need to do. Give people tips, not so much promotions, right? Hey, you come in today, you get 15% off. What if you said, hey, this is what could happen if you don't do 1, 2, 3, right? Yep. Your car could mess up. That's the most common thing. Obviously, people think of or it's not car wash, but express oil change.
The emails all the time.
There you go.
Yeah. So just educational touches. All right. What's the number one thing that people get excited about each year as a person? Birthday. So hey, look, if someone just sent you a message, happy birthday, it is so simple.
I feel special.
If nothing else, it's got your brand at the top of it. Think about this. Most of the time, and we all agree, you have 7 seconds to make a good first impression. 7 seconds. That's what statistics say. And that is not made up on stat today, Brady, just so you know, not 82% made up on.
I think 95%
fact checker.
of all stats are made up on the spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody call the fact checker.
7 seconds is what you have. So if you have 7 seconds when someone is cleaning out their inbox of email, I think I would rather have the brand at the top as a reminder of the service that was provided, hoping it was a great service provided. Mm-hmm. And whatever happens after that happens after that. But if they end up reading behind that brand, as we talked about in the last couple of episodes, brand versus marketing, this is the marketing piece. Make your marketing tip concise. Make it easy. Make it simple. Don't make it this long thing for people to have to read. Or if you do a mailer or whatever the case may be, maybe it's a win. Maybe your team was able to help someone that, like we use express oil change. Maybe they came in and their oil pan was dry. I mean, it was dry, and you were able to go in and do some clean out or whatever the case may be, got them back up and running. You saved a family literally thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. That's a win. So maybe it's just a celebratory touch, right? A milestone, so to speak. What about a service check-in? People don't do this stuff anymore. Just how's it going? I just wanted to check in with you, see how things are going. Is everything okay with, making stuff up? Johnny, how's Johnny's sports program going in his school, whatever? Just how's it going? Be genuine about it. People really want to talk about themselves and their family and things like that, what they're doing. Just do a quick service check-in.
Yeah.
Maybe this is one of those, how's your mom and them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I get a call because we bank with Chase, and then both our personal finances and our business finances are through Chase. And the guy down on 280 where we signed up, at least once a quarter, always calls and said, hey, I'm just checking on your financial needs. And one of the things I brought up last time, I said, hey, I'm getting to the point where I might need to get a business credit card so I want to earn back some points. We're making a lot of purchases for things. But I brought that up, and it was even what's greater. And I'm sure he has, a CRM system on that to do it, which is, again, that's what you need. But each time he's called, he's like, hey, I'm just checking in with you. And he knows me by name. He calls me and I know who he is. And, he says that, hey, do you just checking in? How's your business? Have you guys grown? Do we want to look at anything? Have you thought about, do we need to look at getting you that business card yet? And he'll give me real talks. Like I've told him, like, hey, we're only spending this much money in expenses each month. He's like, Adam, don't do it. Like, hey, hold on. And that's what I appreciate even more is like, hey, don't get one yet. You need to be spending this much, because you also want to take advantage of the signups that they give you the money back. Like, hey, if you're not going to spend this much in this many months, don't do it yet. Wait until you have a big purchase, something you need to purchase, like a new camera, whatever that is. And then you can also get that money back. So, you're talking about check-in. That's quarter, and he does it quarterly. Literally, it's like on the clock, and we kind of actually end up most of the time talking through things. But that again is one of the reasons why we're with Chase and not where we were before, because we never got that with the bank we were at before.
Yep.
And you wouldn't. And it's just a simple thing that he does.
Yeah.
Adam, you do not need a new camera, by the way.
I do actually.
Oh, gosh.
I'm working hard. I need one more big cinema camera so I can
Just
go to
one
the next
more.
level.
Just one more.
I'm sure
One
both
more.
of you have experienced something like this. One that came to mind with me, a how's it going call. You both purchased vehicles over the years. How many? When's the last time that someone from the dealership that you had a great experience with called and said, "Hey, I just wanted to check in with you"?
Recently.
Really?
Well, you guys know we went through some issues. We were having and I think I kind of shared this with just the two of you off the podcast, but we were getting ready to update we felt like we bought a truck a year ago when we changed positions.
Yep.
And I lost my Serpro vehicle. We had to buy a vehicle, and we bought one, and we outgrew it quickly. I mean, like, business has been good. We've had a lot of big projects. I need space, and found out the one we had was actually a lemon. And to the point like where we were going to have to roll negative equity into another vehicle, and we wouldn't want to do it. And we're talking 10 to 15,000 of negative equity.
Yeah.
Anyways, they checked in, and I had kind of written a review about it, like, hey, and nothing negative on them. Like, hey, you guys did great. I just, I kind of wish we had knew some of this. Called me right away, got us in literally within 24 hours. Found a vehicle that fit our need, paid off our truck so we didn't roll anything into it to get us out of that one, and moved into it. And I can tell you, just from that, we probably won't go anywhere else. I mean,
yeah.
And that was, again, that was from a phone call. They literally called us, said, hey, this is actually what we're dealing with. And at the time, I didn't think to call them because I didn't think we agreed to buy the vehicle, right? Like, we signed everything. They didn't have to do that, but they did. And we bought a bigger vehicle that fits our needs and carries our camera gear and the things when we go do these larger projects. But that again, not just checking in, but that led to another sale for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where they win, is they've done their check-ins. Their goal is to eventually, when you have a need, to sell you another vehicle. Mm-hmm. Think about this, just a couple of curated resources. Better updates, fewer updates. So they're not bombarding you with information. We're not bombarding clients with information. Make it less, but make them more impactful. That's the key, is a couple of tips and tricks. Maybe it's a couple unexpected small gestures. This was one that hit home with me, that, what is there out there that we could possibly do? And I don't have the answer for this yet. We'd have to think through this, but what could we do for a customer when we go up on site? Think about this. They've had a fire at their home, and is there something we could do to bring a little bit of value to get them through a situation that they might have to stay at a hotel or whatever, just something like that. Think about this. Every touch point should feel like a gift, not an invoice. Mm-hmm. When I found this, it hit home with me. I was like, man, too many times we go through a transaction, we took care of the client, yay, and at the same time, how many times do we bypass those touch points to feel like a gift and not just a transaction, not just an invoice? And I'll tell you, I'm very proud of our team, because our team goes above and beyond to make sure that the customers are taken care of, they're communicated with, and it's so refreshing. Yeah. That what we have at our team. Yeah. So, and
it's evident, and you see that too when you do that, Benji, because we've been able to be in the top 5 of most reviews, like our Serpro Birmingham location. You're talking about customers like saying, hey, they do this. You can see these. And so we're one of the top 5 out of all the Serpros, not just like our region, of all the Serpros. For that, and really in the service industry. And you have to think, somebody in our industry, typically, like, seeing positive reviews and things, that's tough. But we've made it intentional. I mean, my buddy runs a appliance repair, and I can tell you, I help him manage his stuff, and there's nothing he can do.
Yeah.
They have issues. They have to go through the manufacturer to get parts.
Waiting on parts is probably a big challenge, I'm sure.
That's a big part. And sometimes customers don't get that. And they work on that to try and get customers, but they get bombarded with negative reviews. In the service industry, I think that's a big part too, is doing those things and checking up on customers, because we see that in the reviews that are written. And in an industry that typically people only share the negative, us being in that, the upper echelon, sharing the positive, that's huge. But that's also intentionality, right?
Yeah.
Like that's intentionality through taking care of the customer during and after the job, and then also just staying in communication with them.
Yeah. So just a couple leadership takeaways for you listeners out there. These are, if you want to write these down, as we've said before, don't do this while you're driving down the road. Make a mental note, drop a voice memo on your iPhone or Android or whatever. But just a couple of key takeaways, okay? Consistency always beats intensity. What we mean by that is if you have a steady touch, it's going to be greater than just random noise, because the consumer is sick and tired of random noise. But just keep a steady touch, clear and concise, be consistent with the process. Everything else will take care of itself. They always say this in the sports world. The teams that are the most consistent and do the most basic principles of blocking, tackling, dribbling, shooting, hockey, taking the puck and using basic drills. It's better to be, consistent than it is to be intensity. We can think we're going to have the best shot of the game, but no one's going to hit the closing shot of the game that hasn't practiced that shot thousands and thousands and thousands of times. So consistency wins, okay? Next, think about stewardship, not selling. Guide the customer. Don't squeeze the customer. Think about stewardship. You've been given the opportunity to take care of this client, regardless of what industry you're in. Steward that relationship. Do a good service. As we said earlier, they're going to tell more and more and more people about your business, and then you get more opportunity. So we've been given the opportunity. Steward that relationship. Don't feel like you just sell. Get them through a situation. They've come to you with a problem. Think about this. And I say problem. If you go to a restaurant, you have a problem. You're hungry. That's the problem. You want to eat. So steward the relationship. Want them to come back. Focus on the relationship, not the inbox. Value makes outreach welcome. So if you value and focus on the relationship and not so much just got to push the button for the next email campaign to go out or the next mailer to go out or the next discount to go out, focus on the relationship. Make it personal. And then last but not least, balance is leadership. Protect the clarity and try to avoid chaos, because again, consistency always wins. Quick quote for you. Leadership after the sale is about stewardship, not salesmanship.
Yeah.
That's good.
I've always said, and I've shared it with y'all before, I think the age of the customer always is right has kind of evolved. I don't think the customer is always right, but I do think the customer should always be satisfied. We've got to find a way to do that. They're going to make mistakes. We make mistakes, but I think in the end, how do we take care of the customer? And that means after it's over, like you want to think about this as a relationship, right? Like just because they bought your product, they bought your service, whatever it is you're offering, this needs to be a long-standing thing. Like they may call you in a year from now.
Yeah.
They may do that. But so that when that happens, all right, how do we take care of them? Because something may else happen. Like, you never know. If you're our house, you've had like 7 water done in 9 months. So we would typically call you guys every time. So
yeah.
This kind of reminds me of, going back to like sales. People do business with people they like and people they trust. And I think it's a good reminder that, when, just like my situation with a guitar, we got to remember that we are human beings and not human doings.
Mm-hmm.
We are dealing with human beings, and so take care of them. And I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And so life is a good reciprocal, and I think this is what this is kind of reminding me of.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had a choice based on customer service, when you go get groceries, are you choosing Publix or Walmart?
Yeah, for sure.
And here's the thing, you're probably going to choose Publix because one, they're better in customer service. Like they do all these things. And the other thing is though, they are more expensive, but people look past that because they're like, hey, look, it's better. They're taking care of me. I'd rather pay a little bit more
Yeah.
and have good customer service. So think about that for your industry as well. If you're an industry that maybe you are a little bit more expensive of a service, and it's not because you have, like, it's because you have to be. But if you take care of your customer, they're going to choose you over the cheaper option.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, just in closing, quick little recap. The clock doesn't stop after the sale. It resets it to a new phase of leadership and trust. So here's a challenge for each of us. This week, listener, pick one customer you haven't spoke to in a while. Reach out, not to sell them, but to serve them. And in our closing quote today, customers don't remember the day they signed. They remember the days you showed up afterwards. Well, we want to take just a few moments and say thank you again for tuning in, listeners. We really appreciate it. If you have, maybe you have an idea you like on the podcast, feel free to click that send a text button in the episode. I'd love the opportunity to be able to share that on one of our shows. You can find us on any social platform at Higher Up Podcast. You can always subscribe at thehigheruppodcast.com/subscribe. And as always, go out and choose to live a higher up life. We'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.